Good day everyone, I am Joseph Mariano of Group C and I am here in my group to discuss the Shannon Weaver's model of communication. Communication is the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group of people. Every communication involves at least one sender, a message, and a recipient. And communication is very important. It is the key to understanding between people. First is Claude Elwood Shannon. Claude Elwood Shannon was an American mathematician and electrical engineer who laid the theoretical foundation of digital circuits and information theory, a mathematical communication model. And lastly, Warren Weaver. Warren Weaver was an American scientist, mathematician, and scientist administrator. He is widely recognized as one of the pioneers of machine translation and as an important figure in creating support for science in the United States. In 1948, Shannon Weaver's model of communication was created when Claude Elwood Shannon wrote an article, A Mathematical Theory of Communication, also called Shannon Weaver's Model of Communication, in Bell System Technical Journal with Warren Weaver.
Shannon-Weaver model is also known as the mother of all communication model. It is a linear model of communication that provides a framework for analyzing how messages are sent and received. It is best known for its ability to explain how messages can be mixed up and misinterpreted in the process between sending and receiving the message. Also, they find factors which affecting the communication process called noise. At first, the model was developed to improve the technical communication, and later on, it's widely applied in the field of communication. The model deals with various concepts like information source, transmitter, noise, channel, message, receiver, channel, information destination, encode, and decode.
Shannon was an American mathematician, whereas Weaver was a scientist. The mathematical theory later came to be known as Shannon-Weaver model of communication or model of all models. This model is more technological than other linear models. The Shannon-Weaver model was first proposed in the 1948 article in Mathematical Theory of Communication in the Bell System Technical Journal by Franchesca and Warren Weaver. Shannon and Weaver were both from the United States. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I will discuss about the second elements in communication process. Encoding is the communication process begins in the sender selected words, symbols, pictures, and light that will be delivered into the receiver. It is also known as ideas, thought, and information that turn into a symbolic form. Also, you need to know your target audience. Then the sender will also decide what and how to communicate based on their unique view of information, individual experience, culture, emotions, personality, and knowledge. Thank you.
Channel. It is known that the channel is pertain to how the message is delivered. Moreover, the channel is the medium that conveys the message from the senders to the receivers. Additionally, This could be sound truth in an airwaves in spoken conversation or in binary data transmitted electronically in an email or text. Furthermore, the communicators employ prominent channels established on communication process such as human senses, radio, television, newspaper, electronic tools, social media, and so more.
Decoding is the exact opposite of encoding. Shannon and Weaver made this model and reference communicate that happens through devices like telephones. Decoding is the process of turning communication into thoughts. For example, you realize you're hungry and encode the following message sent to your roommate: I'm hungry.
Hello, I will be discussing the receiver. Receiver, it is the destination of the message. It also the one who decodes the message came from the sender. The receiver play an important part in the communication process because the duty of the receiver is to understand or clearly interpret the message. If the receivers clearly understand or precisely interpret the message, it is known successful communication. In the original Shannon and Weaver model, the last step of communication process is receiver. But in 1948, Weiner came up with an idea which is feedback, the last step of communication process.
And now, the last element of Shannon and Weaver model of communication, the feedback. But the initial model of Shannon-Weaver has only 6 concepts or elements: the sender, encoder, channel, noise, decoder, and the receiver. However, this model has criticized for missing one essential element in the communication process. It is the feedback. Without it, the sender will not know whether the recipients get the correct context of the message or not. So here's Norbert Wiener was an American mathematician who established the science of cybernetics. He added a 7-concept feedback to Shannon-Weaver model, which changed it from a linear to cyclical or interactive model of communication. So Wiener added the element of feedback. And here's the modified model of Shannon-Weaver. Feedback occurs when the receiver of the message responds to the sender in order to close the communication loop. The recipients might respond to let the sender know that he or she got the message or to show the sender whether the recipients got the message clearly and how well the recipients understand the message.
So here's the example. Anthony called his friend. Let's meet at the mall. Join me to buy a new camera. During his call, his pet dog suddenly barked, and his friend only heard, "Join me too." His friend inquired, "Join you what, Anthony?" The sender is Anthony. Encoder is the telephone of Anthony. Channel is the cable. Noise is the dog bark. Decoder is the telephone used by his friend. And the receiver is friend. Feedback is the question from his friend. And that's the feedback that Anthony gets from his friend. It means the receiver or his friend didn't get clearly heard the message.
There is an advantage and disadvantage of Shannon and Weaver communication, and we will be talking about the advantages of it. Particular models are useful for some purposes and less useful for others. Like any process of mediation, a model foregrounds some features and backgrounds to others. The strength or the advantage of Shannon and Weaver model are its simplicity, generality, and quantifiability, and such advantage made this model attractive to several academic disciplines. It also drew serious academic attentions to human communication and information theory, and leading to further theory and researches.
And now let's discuss about the disadvantages of Shannon-Weaver model of communication. Number one, it is a linear model because there is a lack of consideration for the feedback, and that feedback component was not included in the original Shannon-Weaver model of communication in 1948. Number two, it doesn't account for power relationships, meaning it does not take social scientific look at how communication is interpreted differently according on power relationships or identities of persons interacting with another. And lastly, it doesn't address one-to-many communications. The mother of all model is silent on the challenges that occur when there is a single sender and several receivers.
And that concludes the Shannon-Weaver model of communication. I hope you've all gained a lot of knowledge for today's discussion. Thank you for taking the time to watch.